Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. It is Curry Cup time, a sort of almost like a pre-drinks almost for the action that we will see tonight in the British and Irish Lions. But before then, all our focus is down in Durban, where I need to sort out what's going on with my jacket and stuff like that. We're gonna be seeing GRIQUAS versus the Sharks at the moment, the only Curry Cup match of the day. But as far as I'm concerned, as I think we all know, everything is all just sort of looking at later, and this is just a way to try and sort of get us there and try and almost sort of fill the time, really. I think we're in for an absolute cracker of a game later tonight, and let's hope that this provides us with something quite exciting as a game to watch until then. I think it's a GRIQUAS side which can beat, or at least can sort of push quite a few teams. They beat the Lions quite recently. And it's a Sharks side who would do quite well against the British and Irish Lions. There's some very good players stepping up, a couple of potential players who could be, pushing for sort of even higher selection than just the Curry Cup and the Sharks in the future. So there's definitely lots to look forward to in this game itself. But John, let's start getting in the comment stuff like that. Let me know who you're backing. What are you predicting for the game? What sort of scoreline are you thinking? Is it going to be a high-scoring game, low-scoring game? What's your sort of thinking in terms of what's going to happen today? Good to see Rugby back in Durban after all the unrest the last few weeks. Have had 3 games cancelled, have the Sharks. They actually haven't played a lot of Curry Cup rugby. I don't think they'll be too worried about being underbaked because they've played a lot of rugby, against British and Irish Lions. And if 2 games against that doesn't sort you up, then, well, I don't think much will. But, yeah, I think it's just good to see sort of rugby back on our screens and the Curry Cup back and going after what was been quite a weird sort of few weeks and stuff like that. I think with the entire Curry Cup itself, it's not going to be a Curry Cup we'll remember for a long time. How can you? It's we've had all the unrest, we've had matches cancelled with the British and Irish Lions, matches cancelled because of COVID, squads very affected, but it's still a Curry Cup at the end of the day. And I think I suppose in the moment it's more sort of about the 4 United Rugby Championship teams pushing and trying to sort of see where their squad is. So, for example, I think with the Sharks, it's being able to test their depth. For a team like the Lions, it's realizing that they are completely out of their depth. They need to go and put some money into players and coaches and stuff like that. They need to make some very big calls at that union. But in terms of the 2 teams for today, we will start with the home side, which is, of course, the Sharks. So, starting at 3:15, 3 down to 1. So, it is Anthony Folmink at fullback today. Yeah, Penkley is back from the Bok camp, and he was starting at number 14. Werner Clark and Murray Costa are the 2 centers today. Tucker Abrahams at number 11. Then you've got Curran Bosch at number 10. Sanelo Nahamba, also back from the Springbok squad, starts in the number 9 jersey. Pepsi Buthelezi will captain the side, as he has been doing for the entire Curry Cup. Very, very exciting player, Pepsi Buthelezi. And Pilo Gamedi, James Fentel, the rest of the loose trio. The 2 locks are Renio Hugo and LaRue Root. So lots of physicality, lots of size there in those 2. A front row of Lawrence R. Johnson bringing all the experience. Karen van Vuren, who gets a chance in the starting lineup today, usually comes off the bench, and Intutuko Mkuno. And then on the bench, Dan Juster and Zamo Majola, as well as Vian Hurst, as we see the Sharks players coming onto the field. And then we also have the likes of Temalani Bori, Henko Fenter back in the mix, Jaden Henderson also back after suspension on the bench, Lionel Kinnear, as well as Jeremy Ward. So it's a very, very good Sharks side. Lots of depth, very good quality coming off the bench. So you'd think that they've got enough to get past this GRIQUAS side, but it's a very spirited GRIQUAS side who are sort of riding their confidence at the moment, really. I think someone like Ashlon Davids, was a scrum up, now sort of playing quite a lot of fullback for GRIQUAS, has been in very good form. Daniel Kasenda and Edwin Cater will be the 2 wings today, so very exciting there. JC Nell is the centre pairing with Jonathan Frankie. Then we've got George Whitehead and Stefan Ungara as the halfback combination. The former Bulls youngster, Ruan Steenkamp, is the captain. Sibabola Goma and Gillian van der Merwe completes the rest of the loose trio. The 2 locks for today are Stefan Willemse and Andre Smith. And then we've got a front row of Jana Botha, Janko Ace, and Mox Nkoli. And then finally, off the bench for the GRIQUAS, just a couple of seconds before kickoff, we've got AJ Lewis, Andrew Kuhn, Andrew Skitter covering the front row. Then we've got Cameron Lindsay, who gets a bit of a break this weekend. Andrew Sergil, I thought was very good last week. Regan Orania and Tennis De Beer. That is the whistle from Emery Barrett Turan. So kickoff is underway. Idrissa Arendse is the final substitution. The Sharks playing right to left, and it's a bit of a messy win off the kickoff there from the GRIQUAS, but they have managed to get it all back eventually. So the GRIQUAS do have the ball. Sharks playing right to left, GRIQUAS left to right. I reckon they can use the sun definitely in the first sort of half and use it to their advantage. But Stefan Angwe going high quite early. So nice tester for Pepsi Buthelezi, who spilt that forward. And Yao Penkle is desperately not trying to play that because he's offside. So it'll just be a knock on. Very, very good awareness for the laws there from Yao Penkle. Not the greatest moment under the high board from Pepsi Buthelezi, who did knock it on. But Yao Penkle, very good awareness of the laws. If he had played that, he would have been in an offside position and it would have been a penalty. So you can see literally getting himself out the way. But yeah, so let's start getting the chat going. What are your predictions, stuff like? I'm probably going to go Sharks by about 10 or 10 or 15. I reckon if they can really sort of hit their straps. I think having their players back from the block camp, something like Jaden Hemser coming off the bench, I think there's a lot of quality in this Sharks side, and I reckon that the GRIQUAS are very spirited, but I think this could probably be a bit of a step too far. But they do have a good front foot boy here, scrum on the right hand side of the pitch, just inside the Sharks territory. Amy Batteron probably under quite a bit of pressure, not personally for her, but more just in general. The standard of the refereeing in the Currie Cup has been pretty poor, if you're going to be very honest. So I think she'll be wanting to make sure she has a good day with the whistle. So Sean O'Farrell, Sean says Sharks by 15. Yeah, I sort of tend to agree. I think it's probably quite a safe bet. Nice hit there. It's a very solid scrum. Be a nice platform here for the GRIQUAS to use. Inside ball for Daniel Cassenda. Daniel Cassenda's burst through. He's around Taker Abrahams. Oh, I'll take it all back. The GRIQUAS are through. He didn't even get touched. Well, Daniel Cassenda on the inside ball has flown over the try line underneath the poles, and that's the worst possible start from the Sharks. Well, it's the inside ball off the back of the scrum here. It was very well read, and the Sharks defense completely split in half. And then he completely roused Taker Abrahams. Far too much pace there from Daniel Cassenda. Well, after all that, saying the Sharks should be fairly comfortable and stuff like that, it's a horrible start for them. George Whitehead, no issues with the extras, and within the third minute is 7-0 to the away side. So a horrible, horrible start here from the Sharks. But it's just, the inside ball, and there's no one's there. No one's there. And he has the pace. Taker Abrahams has got to do better there. He really does. But I think Curran Bosch probably guilty of not watching the inside man. And once again, it's a bit of a messy to take from the kickoff. Daniel Cassenda, the man cleaning up. But they do have possession to the GRIQUAS, so not all bad. Moxon Coley carrying it up, trying to create a bit of an angle. And I'm sure we're going to see Stefan Ungering will go to the boot. Yep, he's asking for a couple of runners. Yeah, it does go to the boot and try and get... He hasn't... We won't find touch, though. It's a penalty. The penalty for offside. So that's very, very poor from the GRIQUAS. Very frustrating after that opening moment to go and concede a penalty for being offside. And all they've done is they've allowed the Sharks right back into danger territory here. So Bosch will take the points here. Quite far infield, so it's not quite in front of the poles, but just off to the left. About 5 meters short of the 22, so distance won't be an issue. It's actually a very straightforward kick here, so it'll be a nice opportunity to get 3-0. And that's frustrating from the GRIQUAS, because you go and you have a nice, you score a really good try, big opening statement. It's a bit of a messy retake, but eventually you sort of sort yourself out, and then you're offside at the box kick. It's such a poor penalty to concede, really. And Curran Bosch, I think he's starting to play a lot better. Will have a very nice and simple, straightforward kick to try and get his points tally of the match going. Yeah, strikes it well, straight through the middle, no issues, and the Sharks get their first points on the board. So 3-7 in the opening 5 minutes. I think it's the captain, Ruan Steenkamp, who was guilty of being offside. You think the Springboks will go 2-0 down this evening? No, I don't. I'm backing my boys. So I reckon the Springboks will hit back. I mean, we need it to. We need a final next week. It'll be so boring to try and get hyped for next weekend, knowing that it's just pride on the line. So if we can win tonight, then suddenly next weekend becomes huge. A final, a British Irish Lions versus Springboks final, basically. Much better from the Sharks in terms of the way they're taking off there. Go back to Curran Bosch, who clears it out. That's a very nice exit play. That's what the GRIQUAS needed to do. And Bosch has found touch inside GRIQUAS territory. So that's the perfect restart take from the Sharks. Yeah, I think that, we've all got to, I think even all the neutrals and the South Africans will be hoping the South Africa will win tonight because it sets up next weekend so nicely. The last thing we need is Lions busy playing a B team and us, do we give some players a chance or do you make sure you go with the strongest team to try and win your pride back? Because what's even worse than losing the series is being whitewashed at home. So it makes life a lot interesting. But it's a bit of a messy line out there from GRIQUAS, but it's Como who's won it back. So GRIQUAS set piece has just been a bit messy here at the lineouts. The retake hasn't been great. So quite sloppy from the GRIQUAS apart from that one defining moment when Daniel Cassenda took that line early on and went over the try. Unger a little bit delayed with that box kick. You can't go into touch. Dal Penkley underneath it. Goes to Fulming, who spreads it out wide. Werner Cox found a bit of space out there. He's down the wide. He's got the pace. Oh, he's got an ankle tap there. So he falls just ahead of Ashland Davids. Murray Costa is there to clean up. That's a high tackle, surely. Oh, and Kerwin Bosch's no-look pass. No-look pop went to nobody. Lawrence Adrian's having to clean that up. Ahama going to Leroux, who is just an absolute unit of a man. Kerwin Bosch goes to Penkley, gets the offload off. It's a bit behind Pepsi Buthelezi. He has to find his own sort of momentum, but he's still going as Pepsi Buthelezi. Sorry, it's Mpilo Gamedi. That's been left behind by Adrian. So I don't think it's been forward. So Kerwin Bosch goes himself. Finds a bit of space. It's Kerwin Bosch. He's got two players around him. Goes to Werner Koch. Werner Koch goes to nobody. Pepsi Buthelezi picks it up and he's over. And the try has been awarded. So the Sharks hit back. The GRIQUAS defense just in tatters there. Absolutely nobody, really. Last one almost looked like it went forward, but Pepsi Buthelezi, the captain, is over. The try has been awarded. A bit messy, and it was just very easy from the Sharks. I mean, from the for the Sharks from the GRIQUAS. It was Werner Koch with the initial break. They then went to the right. They've now gone back to the left. You just see running the hands here. He's left behind him, but the GRIQUAS, there was just such an overlap. And Kerwin Bosch straight through, taking two players out of it. Delayed the pass a little bit to Werner Koch. Werner Koch unselfishly tries to give it out to his wings. It bounces first, and you got Abrahams and Pepsi Buthelezi. Pepsi Buthelezi just nice and composed. Waits the ball to bounce, picks it up, goes over. Thank you very much. The Sharks back in the lead for the first time, actually. I think we're having a look at this final pass. Werner Koch. I don't think it's too bad. I think it's pretty flat. It'd be frustrating if this gets ruled out, because I think Werner Koch could have gone all the way. Yeah, Spateron asking the team to get involved, try and confirm that last pass. He's got on-field try as the call here. Alright, so here it is. So it doesn't go to hand as this pass, so the direction of the hands is backwards. So, I mean, if this had gone to hand, it would have been fine, I think. Oh, he's saying both of them are forward out the hand. Okay, so they're saying it's forward from their hand. So the try will not stand. It's Werner Koch who's throwing the last passes forward. A wry smile on Pepsi Buthelesi's face. So we'll go back for the knock-on. The forward pass. Last one, the best and the man making the call there. Right, so I have a scrum down on the 5 meter. So defensive scrum here for the GRIQUAS. His second scrum of the day. First scrum we actually saw a try for the GRIQUAS, so it's quite a nice platform. But it's a big scrum from the Sharks, and they use it. So it's Franco carries it up for them. Now quickly to the box kick goes Angara. Nice clearance from him. That's actually very, very good X-play and a solid kick chase from Daniel Cassanders. The GRIQUAS on the 5 meter find themselves right back at the halfway line. That's the perfect X-play. Really good carry there from Jonathan Franco, who's nice and physical. Creates a bit of an angle. And Angara, under no pressure, then finds a nice little touch finder right on the halfway line. Perfect exit play. When you practice on the training ground, that's the sort of result you'll want. So I'll be very happy with that. Hugo goes, oh my goodness, that was so telegraphed. Ruan Steenkamp has intercepted that. I think he's offside as the call. Well, it's a very good read from Steenkamp. He was offside, which is the call. Ooh, I don't think he's offside. I don't think it's a very good call from Amy Barrett around there. I think he's onside. I think it's just beautifully read there by Steenkamp. So that's a bit of a harsh one. Sharks all of a sudden now on the 22 with an attacking line out. First sort of more. We've got Van Vuren who's controlling at the back. It's a little messy here from the Sharks. All right, now Murray Costa with his first carry of the day. And he's lost the ball forward. So the Greeks are turning the ball over here. Mox and Paulie as well to hang on to it. And now Angara goes to the boot. Another good-looking kick. He bounces in field, though, so Abrahams will have a bit of time to get back here. He's got Fulmink on his right-hand side. Does give it to Fulmink. Tries to go for the little chip over the top, seeing a bit of space. Yeah, Penkler tries to knock it back in field. He does, but it's forward. So Edwin Cato now cleans up. He will be going at the Sharks next year. Will Edwin Cato. Ashland Davis down the blind side now. Puts it to the boot. That's been left behind. So then the Humber's not cleaned up. It's a horrible pass over the top of Curran Bosch. It's very, very messy. And Abraham's has got Kenny in front of Merv ahead of him. Gets away from one. Comes back inside. The Sharks in the 22 now eventually being brought down. Hammer under quite a lot of pressure, digging for it. Eventually back to Curran Bosch. They got to set the 22. But he doesn't find touch to Bosch. It's Frankie who's back. Got a lot of power, does Jonathan Frankie. So what does he do? He runs into Werner Koch and James Fenter. Now Ashland Davis down the left, but he cuts inside. Needs a couple of forwards around him, and eventually comes Stefan Angara now. Will chip over the top. He spots a bit of space. And with the bounce, it'll go. Ooh, I think it's carried over, actually. I think that's been carried over by Penkley. The perfect little kick over the top from Angara. It looked like it was going to stay inside. Then it suddenly looked like it was going to go too far. And at the last minute, it's popped inside. So I think that Penkley has probably got it down first, but I think he's had to carry it back. But Edwin Cater looks like he's in front of the kicker anyway. Time is off. We're going to go check that. Very, very nice kick this by Stefan Angara. He spotted the space and just a little bit of a chip into the 22. The 22, so they reckon that Penkley didn't carry this back. I'm not convinced that. That's carried back. Come on, guys. What is the point of going upstairs and looking if you're not going to get the decision right? And you can see they look at the replay and they didn't even look at where he carried it back. Oh, it's so poor. It's so poor. The referee in the Currie Cup is so blooming substandard. Penalty in front here. That's just... What is the point of having the technology? What is the point of even going and checking? And they went upstairs and checked and never looked at whether he carried it back. Clearly carries it back. And the GRIQUAS are not under pressure when they should have had a 5 meter line. A scrum. So the Sharks now are pretty much in GRIQUAS, just inside GRIQUAS territory on the front foot here. Should have been having a scrum. And that's two harsh calls against the GRIQUAS. The first one was Ruan Steenkamp when he was called offside, which I don't think he was. And there, they should have had an attacking scrum, and now instead, they are 22. Another penalty against the GRIQUAS. Ugh, that's just so frustrating. I can't. If I was them, I'd be absolutely losing it. See, 4 penalties here from the GRIQUAS so far, none from the Sharks. And they go to the top to the Sharks off the line out, and it's a bit of a messy one. Maricostas had to clean it up. It's not. It's just messy game so far. Messy. MC says great to get this coverage on Hulls in Portugal. Arrived today and found an Irish bar in Portimão to watch the box tonight. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Very jealous that you're traveling. Another penalty advantage here from the Sharks. Over the top from Bosch. I don't know who he was supposed to be passing it to. That was bizarre. Yeah, I mean, Curran Bosch threw this ball over the top, and it was knocked on from the GRIQUAS, but there was actually nobody behind it. So if you hadn't touched that, the ball was just going to sail straight into touch. So yeah, look, we haven't been treated to a particularly good spectacle here so far. I think some pretty poor refereeing decisions so far. Not phenomenal rugby, if I'm honest. You have a scrum here are the Sharks. 5 penalties conceded by the GRIQUAS in the opening 15 minutes. So then he's trying to sort out their discipline, but I think 2 of them are quite harsh. And the Roots, the big man, has been full of carry so far, as you'd imagine at his size. Yeah, so it's right by the poles on the 5 meters. The perfect attacking scrum. I mean, if you could place a ball on the field somewhere and say you want to scrum here, this wouldn't be far away from here. So it's reset scrums here just for a nice change. Let's get down to business. As you imagine, Sharks are lining up more to the left here. And in a nice solid scrum platform, they'll get a cheer, I think, from the looks of it. Advantage, they go to Nahamba. Bosch flat to Werner Koch. It's a nice tackle on him. Now it's Reniel Hugo. An advantage there. The 6th penalty the GRIQUAS will concede if the Sharks don't score yet. It's a nice tackle on Oliver Smith, who was very quickly up. Pick up it goes on Lewis Arjansa. Right, now Nahamba goes to Kerwin Bosch, who's left it behind. I think we have to see a card here, just on the basis of the amount of penalties. We heard a double whistle blast there from Amy Bauturan, so I think that someone's about to go to the bin. Okay, so no yellow card. Ruan Steenkamp's being told that no one's tackled, stuff like that. He needs to sort the discipline, otherwise he will lose a player. Sorry, I need to adjust my score back down to 3. I forgot the try that wasn't awarded. So no one's tackled. This time the Sharks will take the line out. Kerwin Bosch kicks up on the 5. That's the second kickable goal that they have not taken. Have the Sharks? They want all the points here. They got a Hugo at the front of the line out. Use it once as the call. So far, good defense. Kieran from Fury at the back. Been told to use it, and Nahamba does use it. Goes to Murray Costa. He puts his head down. And the GRIQUAS are celebrating. I think they thought that they had knocked it on, but no call there from Emi Baturan. And this time, Pele Gomedi gets very close. Oh, pick up and drive. There's a lot of GRIQUAS players piling into that. Another penalty. Yeah, we go. Emi Baturan going to the cards. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know who the lucky person that are. I think it's the case of the last person up here gets the yellow card. So you all have a yellow card here. The GRIQUAS go down. It's Jano Buerta. The tight head, he's been given his marching orders. He'll spend 10 minutes on the sidelines. There we go. And the first thing that the Sharks do is they call for a scrum, which means the GRIQUAS have to put on a new tight head. So this will be a very nice tackling opportunity for the Sharks. They've been trying to find that first try. They're turning down the chance to go for the points. So they could have had two penalties, so they could have taken the points. But you can see the intent is a bonus point tonight. Let's get down to business. So Skitter is on, and Gideon van der Merwe has been sacrificed, which is an interesting call. Gideon van der Merwe, one of the best players in this GRIQUAS outfit. Right, it's another big hit from the Sharks. At the momentum is a bit messy there. Emi Baturan asking for a reset. Let's see, Sharks, they want a bonus point try here. So GRIQUAS pack under all sorts of pressure at the moment. They can't sort this out. They will concede a penalty try. I mean, we're on the 5 meter. They've conceded about 7 penalties so far in the game. Under a lot of pressure at scrum time. They're a man down at the scrum time as well. Another big scrum, but it's gone down, so it's a penalty advantage. And Stefan Unger has decided to pick up Senel Nahamba and drive him down. And I reckon that he could be a bit of trouble here. It's just weird. I mean, you could see Senel Nahamba trying to sort of shield the ball, and Unger then decided to pick him up and toss him out the back there. So it's a very, very strange decision. I don't know what he was doing. That's foul play they're having a look at. Ross Dinkum got a lot to say, as does Senel Nahamba, and Pesi Buthelezi, who's not backing down. So you can see Stefan Unger then just losing his patience with Senel Nahamba. He's trying to get to the ball and decides to just pick him up. It's just a weird thing. He doesn't even have the ball. I just don't see the point in this. This is probably going to be a yellow card, to be honest. I mean, we're not even talking about danger, but just what are you doing? You can't just pick up a guy and dump him. He puts his hand out to snare the humble, which saves him, but you can't just do that. Surely you can't just pick somebody up and just dump him. Yeah. Yeah, so it's going to be 2 yellow cards here from the GRIQUAS, and you can't complain. I mean, what is there to complain about? The balls, you literally can't touch the ball. It's at the back of the scrum. It's gone down. They've got a penalty advantage, so then you decide to pick up the hammer and just go and dump him. Like, that's just stupid. Yeah, and Steenkamp there pretty much saying it's just a yellow. Hey, it's just a yellow. It's not a red because it was just so stupid. I think the word cheating there is probably quite accurate by Eddie Watchalong because it's just completely off the ball instant. There was no reason to do anything, and he just picks him up and dumps him. It's just stupid. So 3 players off now for GRIQUAS. First thing that the Sharks will do is ask for another scrum, I'm sure. It's just a moment of madness, really, from Stefan Ungara. So no scrum off, no tight head. Well, they've got a pace tight on in Skitter, and they'll take another scrum here with the Sharks. So, yeah, this could get a little bit messy here. If Sharks score early here, they'll have a good 5 or 6 minutes against a 13-man GRIQUAS side to really sort of put them under the pump. Advantage for the Sharks. Pissy Buthelezi picks up and goes himself. Comes up short. Hugo's not another advantage for not rolling. So I'll tell you what, if the Sharks don't score here and there's another penalty or 2, they could have a 3rd person back in the bin. Hammer, not a great pass to Curran Bosch. Curran Bosch lifts it up. Yeah, Penkley goes up. It's a nice take from him. He gets taken down by Keita and JC Null. Under a little pressure there are the Sharks, but it's available for Murray Costa at the back. There's no scrum off for the Sharks, so Costa fills in. Now Hammer's back. He goes to Bosch. It's a bit behind him. Bosch goes to Costa. He steps back inside. Runs into a bit of traffic, though. Right, now Hammer goes to Bosch. Bosch stabs at the head. Werner Koch. Ashland Davis to Daniel Cassenda. They'll go back for the penalty anyway. And that's another penalty in the danger zone, so I think the GRIQUAS need to be very careful here. Right, so Steenkamp having a word with his men at the moment because it's another penalty in the danger zone. So you can see scrum going straight down there, and Buthelezi, and I think it's Jonathan Frank. No, so it's Goma who doesn't roll. A little bit harsh because he's being held in, I think, but you can see I think the message from Steenkamp here is just composure because if they get another penalty, they're going to lose a 3rd person to the bin. But so far, they've managed to actually keep them out, I suppose, which is the main thing. So they run the clock down quite a bit here, which means that hopefully Ace doesn't have too much time left. Eric Waddington, welcome to the Fair Sports Members Club. Thank you very much. Welcome to the community. If you want to become a part of the Members Club, the link's in the pinned comment over there. Get yourself a little badge next to your name as well. Right, so we got Ashton David just sitting at the scrum off position at the scrum. He's very, very used to that position. He's played a lot of rugby at scrum off as Ashton Davids. Pepsi Buthelezi goes off the top. He's brought down. Ruan Steenkamp's all over that. The captain trying to win the penalty. And it's another penalty advantage for slowing it down against Ruan Steenkamp, who's not going to be in Benjamin Barrett's good books. Now they're going on. Oh, it's knocked on from Fulming, so we'll go back for the penalty. Just a penalty at the moment. Steenkamp, the GRIQUAS are getting very close to a third yellow card here. Yeah, I'm very surprised he hasn't gone to the bin yet. I think, yeah, and the Greeks are one more penalty away from losing a third because they're under the cosh here. They've literally conceded, I think it's about 10 penalties now. Sharks haven't conceded a single one. That's the 6th penalty there. It's the 6th kickable goal that the Sharks have not taken so far. But the Greek was still very, very much under the cosh at the moment. Yeah, and if I'm the Sharks, it's almost worth, as I said, picking up and going, stuff like that, trying to win another penalty advantage. There's one more penalty and another Greek player is disappearing. Oh, short arm penalty. No stability at the scrum is the call, so another scrum. So this is actually really good for the Greeks because this is just winding down the clock for both their yellow cards. They've got 2. So I don't think Janko Ace can have too much time left in the bin. I can't remember. I don't know when it was they officially actually went to the bin. There's no clock on the scoreboard. Tony now says, where is 3? Come on. Yeah, I'm going to check now, see how much longer he's got in the bin. But I think that the Greek was, I don't think it's going to matter because I can see one more penalty there. It just kind of swaps at people in the bin. But he has been over there for quite a while. Jana Butter, it was no advantage. Bosch goes himself, and he tossed it out. He's tossed it out. The GRIQUAS have defended this. That is brilliant stuff from the GRIQUAS. Well, Jana Butter was the 19th minute, so he still has another 4 minutes left in the bin. And this is just horrible, horrible. Sonetta goes to Bosch. Bosch gets away from Whitehead, then decides to try and pop it up to Take Abrahams, but he's popped it over and goes straight into touch. And you can see the celebrations from the GRIQUAS. After all that pressure, after 8, 9 penalties so far in the half, 2 yellow cards, and they've won themselves a nice defensive line. They don't have a scrum off still. But the important thing is, first things first, they go out to the back. It's a solid take there. And Frankie now will lost it. The Greeks probably have to kick this, but it's one of those situations where you'd like to keep the ball in hand as much as possible. A nice carry there for Frankie. Now Ashton Davis is going to go to George Whitehead, who's in the bin. Sorry, he's going to go himself. And that's a decent. Very, very well done by the Greeks. They're still in the lead. I don't know how they're still in the lead. After all those penalties, I'll try and see if they've got the stats here, but it must be over 10 penalties so far. A lot of them in the danger zone. 11 penalties according to Ultimate Rugby. 2 men in the bin, and they haven't conceded a single point. Sharks go to the back towards Pesci Butlezi, trying to get a rolling maul going. Side entry from Ruan Steenkamp, so he's going to concede another penalty. Penalty number 12. Murray Costa chips over the top, and it goes out. So we'll go back for another penalty. They're right on the edge here, the Greek was. They've conceded another penalty. They're going to go towards the corner of the Sharks. But 12 penalties now? They've turned down 7 kickable opportunities at the moment, which you can't really sort of say that's 3 points every time. But it's a good 12 points that they probably turned down at least. The territory stuff, they've been parked in the GRIQUAS 22. If you look at the territory at the moment, it's 82% with the Sharks, 82% territory. Time is off at the moment. And about to say 2 more minutes, and you've got in fact, I think it's pretty much 1.5 minutes, and you've got Jana Buerta back on the field. Please smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. This is a bit of a taste for us to try and get ourselves into the rugby mindset before the ever important match, which kicks off in less than 3 hours. Less than 3 hours of kick-off in Cape Town. A massive match tonight, massive, and I'm hoping to get a really, really good stream. So please make sure after this video finishes, at the end of this match, it'll take you straight to that match. You can go turn on your notifications so you get a notification when we go live for the match later. Sharks going over the top. It's messy, but it's well read by Murray Costa. The Sharks still on the front foot now. LaRue Roots bumps off one. And it's a penalty against the GRIQUAS, against the Sharks. That is, I mean, how have they done this? How have they done this? The GRIQUAS have won a penalty, and the Sharks, up against 13 men, with all those penalties, have gotten absolutely nothing off, and now they've just conceded a penalty. Only now 15 minutes off. Where is he? So, well, according to Ultimate Rugby, he went off in the 19th minute, which means in theory he should be back in the next 30 seconds. Stefan Angura went off in the 21st minute, so he's still got another couple of minutes. But I mean, if the GRIQUAS somehow managed to get the 2 men back without conceding a single point, they're in jeepers. If they go on to win this match, it'll all come down to that period. And really, really poor from the Sharks. I mean, how could they not manage to sort of punish them? It's just a couple of basic errors. That's a couple of weird passes that Cohen Bosch has thrown. Almost like it's also a bit of try-line fever. They just haven't been patient enough to just run a couple of phases and create the space. This will be the last play before they get one of the 2 yellow cards back with the GRIQUAS. We go to the back of the line out. That's RJ Smith. Once again, Jonathan Franco will carry it up. It's a nice tackle on him from Fento and Buthelezi. Whitey goes to the boot. Olmi lets it bounce. Is it inside to Yapek there? He will kick. Finds a bit of space to Penkler, but they're back. Other GRIQUAS, and it's Whitehead. He goes inside to Ashton Davids, then goes back inside to Whitehead, who then kicks it ahead. Pesi Buthelezi cleaning it up. He goes to Tsukum Kuno, who's got a bit of momentum. Volmek. Ball over the top to Gamere. Very good handling. Oh, he's lost it forward, surely. Well, they won it back here, the GRIQUAS. I think it's 2 knock-ons. The Sharks are still playing. An advantage for a knock-on. I thought the Sharks were knocked on initially with Gamere, but apparently not. Cohen Bosch now going for the cross kick. Oh, everyone's missed it. Everyone's missed it. Franco's missed it. Penkler's missed it. It's run out. And it was just a knock-on advantage as well. So they won't go back for it either. It's just... I can't believe the Sharks... I mean, there we go. So one of them is back. Well, 2 people come back on. Gene van der Merwe and Jana Buerta are back on the field. Skitter's left. So GRIQUAS down to 1 yellow card. It's just Angura, who's literally got about a minute left. And the Sharks, for all they've had all the territory, all the chances, their attack just hasn't been good enough to break down the GRIQUAS defense. And it's just basics. Right, the captain, Pesi Buthelezi, has had a good game so far. A little bit sluggish into the contact. He kind of driven sideways from Gene van der Merwe. Now Kieran van Vuren puts his head down. He lost a few meters there, the Sharks. Well, when they went down to 13 men, it all looked one-way sort of traffic, and we said that it might get a little bit early as Werner Koch breaks through here. Werner Koch still going, gets the inside ball. Volmek, oh, that's brilliant handed. Pudla Gamere will go over, but that is phenomenal from Volmek. I mean, after all that, they finally scored a bit on the counter-attack, really. The handling's always been good of the Sharks, but that is some fantastic stuff. It's Anthony Volmek with that inside ball that was so good. Peter Gamere is the man that goes over. So the Sharks finally get reward. Yeah, inside step from Werner Koch. 1, 2, inside ball, Volmek, and then he just boop. Very nicely worked there. And Peter Gamere's then got the pace. The GRIQUAS defense in shambles. I mean, it's a fantastic step to get away from JC now. Werner Koch, then inside ball, and it's fantastic. It's very slick handling from Volmek. And then Gamere's got all the pace. He runs in towards the corner. The Sharks are on the ball. They get their first try of the game. And the GRIQUAS, look, to be fair to them, they'll go back to being 15 now. So if you had told them with the kick to come that you would have conceded 1 try, be 1 point away if Cohen Bosch doesn't get it. It's not the easiest of attempts. It's not quite on the touchline. It's about 5 meters in from the left-hand side. So if he gets this, then the Greeks would have conceded just 7 points when they went down to 13 men, which I think is actually a very good result. So 10 seconds left on the conversion clock here as Bosch. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Jeepers. Well, that was literally within a second of the conversion clock going down. He's pushed it right anyway. So 1 point in it, and the GRIQUAS, well, jeepers. I mean, gone down to 13 men, and they've conceded just 5 points. I think they'll be frustrated at scoring this, but it's fantastic handling from Mink. Honey Nelson hope the Box win today, otherwise 12 years in the drain. Yeah, I think that's the problem. You know, if we don't win, then we have to wait another 12 years before we can get our redemption. And we'll all be quite a lot older. Put Lazy there under the kickoff. That's fantastic, and it's a penalty conceded from the GRIQUAS. Another penalty conceded from the GRIQUAS. But hats off to them for conceding just 5 points when they went down. Well, they didn't concede a single point when they went down to 13. And they conceded just 5 points when they were down to 14 then. The 12 penalties to 1 is the count. They don't find a touch here to the Sharks with the penalty, so Unger's got a bit of space. Oh, it's a big hit on him from James Fenter. The ball's popped over the back, so Steenkamp will carry, gets the ball away from Ashlon Davids, who's smothered by Snare Nahamba. I think it's a high tackle there, so it's a penalty for the GRIQUAS. Ashlon Davids has stayed down. Yeah, he doesn't look well at all. Renault Opperman, did you see Wackhead Simpson prank Gatlin pretend to be Rascal to fire? I saw an article about it. I actually haven't read it. A lot of people say they didn't really like it. I actually haven't heard it myself. So maybe I'll try and check it out after this before the Bok game. I mean, I haven't actually heard it, but I'm not sure it's the right thing to be doing right now, to be honest. I mean, I think we're talking about the fact that World Rugby are going to be investigating things and stuff like that. There's so much tension in between everything like that. I'm not quite sure it really is the time and the place to be doing that. It doesn't come off very well for South Africans, does it? The fact that we've now launched a video against the referees. Now we've got a local radio DJ now phoning up the Lions coach. It's just, yeah, I'm not quite sure. I don't think I really agree with it. But I haven't heard it. I actually haven't heard the actual interview itself. So we're looking at foul play here. Ashlon Davids has stayed down after Nahamba tackled, and they're all very low, so I don't think we're going to see much of it. Quite a big hit on Ashlon Davids from Snare Nahamba. I mean, Davids is very, very low. And he's so he's come from behind and sort of smacked him on the side. He released him immediately afterwards. I think Nahamba could be in a little bit of trouble here. So he comes from the side. He does hit Ashlon Davids on the side from Nahamba. They are quite close to the ground. It's not great to be coming from the back, though. It's not a particularly good angle from Nahamba. There's going to be a yellow card here for Nahamba. Yeah, I know the play safe from Nahamba. You could see as soon as he made the hit, he stopped there. Was quite worried about Ashlon Davids. So he goes to the bin. I mean, it's foul play, but I don't think there's a lot of malice into it. It wasn't a great tackle, but I don't think it was, it wasn't like a shoulder charge or anything like that. He just gets it very wrong, does Nahamba. So he goes to the bin. Ashlon Davids has stayed down there, so he doesn't look good. He's going to go off in a stretcher, which is really, really unfortunate. So just as we went down to being 15 versus 15, the Sharks are now down to 14. I think it's well handled. I think that it wasn't great. I don't think it was It was dirty from them. I don't think he was trying to do that. You could see as soon as he made the hits, he was very apologetic and sort of stopped playing immediately. They said it's head on head contact. I mean, it's arm on head on contact, really. I think it's, I'll put it down as a rugby incident, to be honest. So I think it's the right call all around. I think the explanation was very good. There was no complaints from Buthelezi or Nahamba, but it doesn't look good for Ashland Davids. He's busy being wrapped up in the stretcher. He's going to be stretchered off. So let's hope he's all right. So 6 minutes left. The GRIQUAS will have a penalty. They're on the 10-meter. The penalty's on the 10-meter line, so it's nice for the angle and right in the middle of the field. So it's a good angle for Whitehead to try and find some distance. Yeah. Mr. Arden says the man onto the field. Okay, time back on. Penalty for the GRIQUAS. George Whitehead will kick this as far down to Sharks territory as he can. It's not a great touch finder. He finds touch just beyond the 10-meter inside Sharks territory, but a nice chance here for the GRIQUAS to try and hit back. They can get a penalty here, knock it over. They can take it lead into half-time. The 12 penalties conceded so far from the GRIQUAS, just the 2 from the Sharks. Do you agree with the red card yesterday? If it's the... No, actually, I haven't seen anything from yesterday, to be brutally honest. I watched the Lions game-ish, but I didn't watch the Bulls game. So I can't really comment on that, to be honest, because I haven't seen it. I took last night out, and I meant to go watch everything this morning, but I've been doing all the prep and stuff for tonight, so I haven't seen it. But I'll try and see it before. I'll try and watch the highlights stuff like that before the Springbok game. Yeah, it wasn't the best there from the GRIQUAS. They've eventually managed to win it back from Kenny van der Merwe and won a scrum on the ground there. I mean, it was a very poor line out. And then Anthony Folman trying to run up against the GRIQUAS. He gets held up here very well by Kenny van der Merwe and George Whitehead. So they managed to win the ball back. A bit of a... There's a horrendous line out here. And Hugo snaps that ball up. But it's been one back from the GRIQUAS. Honey Nell says, yes, the Bulls absolutely murdered the West Province. Yeah, I saw the score. I saw that it wasn't particularly pretty. I didn't have a good view of the TV. I was at a pub and I was kind of in between TVs where I had a TV like literally right behind me and then like running around the corner. So I actually couldn't really watch it. That is a huge scrum from the GRIQUAS. They've got penalty. They're still going. I mean, goodness me. They've got an advantage in the GRIQUAS. That's a massive scrum from them. Two penalties there from the GRIQUAS. So they'll have 2 different places where they can take it from. That is a massive scrum, though. Goodness me. Where's that come from? The black line was offside, which has given them a few more meters, and they were just got absolutely decimated. I mean, that scrum must have gone about a good 10 meters. So the GRIQUAS go to the line after they've just lost the line out. I wonder if they would have been tempted to have gone for another scrum yet, to be honest. This is you can just see from the hit, though. And then the power just comes through. And it's just, yeah, Tukum Kuno is being absolutely decimated there. He pretty much starts walking sideways. Right, so with 3 minutes to go, Lions such disappointment, should have won, but threw the game away. Yeah, don't get me started. I mean, even the last like 3 minutes, how many times did that ball trade possession where we'd run a couple of phases and give the ball away and they'll throw it back to us? It's almost like the GRIQUAS said, please, we want you to win. This is a huge more. This will be a try. The GRIQUAS are over. Take a bow. Well, the GRIQUAS are back in the lead. That is the perfect. I mean, it's Edwin Cato. Well, I mean, I don't know why they're focusing on him, but I'd say it's a brilliant ball there. I mean, you can see it was quite a good hit. Janko Ace, the man, has gone down, or gone over rather. So they go here to the front. It's Ormo with the take. There's a solid hit, and they're working really hard to get down the right-hand side, and there's just nobody ahead of him. And I mean, it's Tucker Abrahams who then eventually has to make the hit, so he had no chance. This was always going to be a try. Renault Opman says Jan Kobler had a beast of a game, second man of the match in a row, surely one of the most underrated players in the country. Yeah, I saw the try he scored, which was quite very nice piece of handling, but it was quite fortuitous with the line over the top and his ball straight and just snatched it. But he's playing really, really good rugby at the moment. I think that, and this is why as a Lions fan, it's so frustrating that there are so many good hookers in this country. There are so many good hookers in this country. You've got Watchalong, who's playing some brilliant rugby. You've got Fez Mbata, who's just come back from the box, also a really good prospect. Then you've still got Scoran Tabene, who's just come back from the box. You've got Bongi Manambi and Malcolm Marks and Joseph Dwebe. If we get Joseph Dwebe back in the country, then, I mean, the hookers we could have across the unions will be terrific. But, I mean, it's difficult when you're in the Bulls side where there's just so much talent and there's so many big players. That Watchalong does kind of go under the radar. But he's always topping or right at the top of tackle charts. Got that nice red scrum cap, so it's quite easy to see what he's doing. It's a nice conversion there by Whitehead, by the way. So it's 14-8 with just over a minute to go. The captain still come underneath that ball, so they can just run down a miniature from the GRIQUAS and then kick it into touch and go and have some oranges. You've got to say, though, that the GRIQUAS have deserved this lead. That defense, when they had 30 men down and they had 14 men down, yes, they've now scored against a 14-man Sharks side, but the Sharks had all the opportunities to try and make it count and just didn't. Really, really poor attack from the Sharks. And that's not good work under the high ball. Daniel Cassandra stayed down as well. Gene van der Merwe kicked this through. Well, it's a bit of a foot race. He's neck and neck with Tucker Abrahams, who's now overrun it. So Gene van der Merwe picks it up. Looking for support. It comes in the form of Ormo. Frank here. They've got space out wide. They've got space out wide to the GRIQUAS. Julie inside, and he's over. Well, his answer is on as a substitute, and literally in the final seconds of the first half, the GRIQUAS are back over, and the Sharks in absolute disarray. Well, that's a hell of a half. I think we'll go back and look, because it looked like Gene van der Merwe might have pulled Tucker Abrahams back when they were chasing it. I don't know if they're going to have a look. So Pepsi Buthelezi under quite a lot of pressure. He just sort of lets it go. I think he thought it was going to bounce into touch. The sender stays down. Doesn't look good for him. And it's bounced up. Very nice finish there from Lorenzo. So we're good. The try will stand. Thumbs up from NBA Toronto, George Whitehead. And the GRIQUAS 19 points to 8 up against the Sharks. 2 tries now with the Sharks down to 40 men. Now that's how you make an advantage count. They went 1 yellow card, 2 tries. They're in the driving seat so far, the GRIQUAS. I mean, we said before that they've got a lot of talent. They're playing really well, but I don't think we would expect them to have been at least 19-8 in the lead at half-time. So it's been a really good performance. Well-deserved lead by them. I 100% agree. And it all comes down, for me, it all comes down. I mean, they had 82% possession to the Sharks in those first sort of, 15, 20, 25 minutes almost. Down to 13 men. They conceded a lot of penalties to GRIQUAS. Maybe even were lucky not to go down to 12 men at the stage. But they held on. Then Curran Bosch, a really poor... That's a fantastic kick from Whitehead. 21 points to 8 at half-time. The GRIQUAS in the diving seat. Brilliant stuff from the men from Kimberley. And the Sharks, well, guilty of just having no real plan on attack. They took scrum after scrum, then lineouts. They had all these penalties that they could have taken points. Decided not to take them. I think it was 7 kickable goals they didn't take. Despite conceding 13 penalties in the first half, the GRIQUAS are very much in the driving seat, well ahead. 21 points to 8 down in Durban. And while the Sharks are going to need a big comeback in the second half, they're going to take all the points. But the GRIQUAS, well, I'll tell you what, a win here suddenly puts them into semi-final conversation, like genuine semi-final conversation. So that would be quite cool. Imagine seeing the GRIQUAS and the Pumas in the semi-finals of the Currie Cup, which would mean that two URC clubs aren't in the Currie Cup. But I'll tell you what, it'll be nice for SA Rugby. And, I mean, this has always been quite a messy Currie Cup in terms of games, cancelled, and stuff like that. So there's ever going to be a time where it might be nice to see something a bit different. This would probably be it. But, yeah, that is the halftime score. We're going to take a bit of a break. I shall return very soon. Don't go away. Please smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. As I said, 2.5 hours until we've got kickoff later tonight. That's the game we're all waiting for. That's the game we can't wait to see. Should be an absolute crack over there in Cape Town. But yeah, don't go away. I'll be back in a few minutes. We'll go through some stats from the first half and then get ready for what should actually be quite a good second half. But yeah, thank you very much for joining me and check you guys in a few minutes. Right, and we are back. Kickoff for the second half is going to get underway shortly, and we'll go through a couple of stats and stuff like that. But the score is currently 21.28 in favor of the GRIQUAS. So, who would have thought about that one? There we go. So, GRIQUAS right to the left. Get things underway, going deep. And it's Reniel Hugo who gets the first touch of the second half. Very nice to start under the high ball. Louis Roots with another carry. I mean, he's so big, and he's made a lot of carries today so far as Louis Roots. Bosch can't go to touch, so he goes straight down the middle of the field. Here's the beer. Cater's ahead there. Cater's almost won it back. It's gone off to touch, which gives a bit of time to sort of look at things. Right, so let's some of the comments. So we've got Rainer Opperman says the Lions should play a relaxation match against Pumas, GRIQUAS, or Cheers to get into the URC because they've disappointed lately. Yeah, it's difficult. No, you know what the problem is? I'll tell you what the problem is. Is Daniel Cassender's gone off. Unfortunately, that's who Tinus De Beer is on for. It's not as also. I mean, I think look, the Chiefs probably can do it all cheaper. That's a knock-on from Taki Abrahams. So that's not a great line-out from the Sharks. But I don't think financially the Pumas and the GRIQUAS could ever be URC clubs just yet, you know, in terms of sponsorship, in terms of being able to pay stuff like that. I mean, it's things like travel or travel costs or your equipment, stuff like that. I don't think they'll financially be able to sort of do it unless SA Rugby really did sort of help them out. The Cheetahs probably could. It's difficult, though, to sort of to say that, you know, you've been a really good team for how many years and you have one bad year and they kind of sack you. You know, so... But I'm so over the lines at the moment. It's just been so lackluster in that unit in the last year that they really need to sort their rubbish out. Eric Wanning says that's how the GRIQUAS become the first holders of the Curry Cup. Hey, look, stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. The GRIQUAS and the Pumas both look very good sides. They look like, I mean, when they have off days, I think they can be beaten by anyone, but they do all of a sudden look like they could beat, you know, most teams on their day. Who do you think have even a chance to beat the Mighty Bulls? From the Curry Cup, I mean, it depends, doesn't it? I suppose the Stormers, in theory, I think have the players to do it. They didn't play particularly well last night, from what I hear. I mean, the Stormers and the Sharks have got squads to sort of try and compete, but I mean, the problem is that the Bulls lost about 6 players to the Springboks, and in that time they made like 6 signings anyway. So we got a penalty advantage to the Greeks. It's another very good scrum. Tinus De Beer kicked in behind. Oh, cheapers. That's not gone well at all. That's just a rugby incident. Chill. Yeah, Al Penkler went over to get the ball. Edwin Cater went straight over the top, and a bit of a strange fall for him, but it was completely accidental. So we'll go back and. But yeah, massive scrum there from the GRIQUAS. Well, it's all going well in the moment with the GRIQUAS. Like they managed to sort of to stem the flow in the first half of all those penalties. Al Penkler stayed down after that collision. With Edwin Cater. Stephen Ungar, I think, was thinking about taking it quickly, waiting for George Whitehead to come. He will then kick towards the corner. We're going to take the 3. I mean, the Bulls are just, they've got such a deep squad. I mean, you look at the Bulls at the moment, you know, and the fact that, you know, even at the moment, Arno Buerta's not even around. You've got, I mean, Albert Lowe now playing 8th man. There's so much depth, and you're only gonna have, you know, and the players are only gonna get better. So it's an unbelievable squad that's being assembled by the Bulls at the moment, with very good coaches. I think when all the Springboks are back, I think that Shark squad is very, very strong. It's got all the talent you need. But it's just a case of, and I think, to be fair, I think they're assembling quite a good coaching staff. So I think the Sharks will be quite good come URC. I think the Stormers have got a lot of good players, but also a couple of players leaving. Also quite a few question marks over management. And for the Lions, well, they just need to get their checkbook out. You know, they've just lost Alton Young to Johnny Lombard, which is huge. They never replaced Malcolm Marks. They've still never really replaced Franco Mostert. Haven't really replaced Tyron Green as well. So it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. But the GRIQUAS are on the 5 meter here. Bit of a messy line of wind, so they're trying to get the ball going, but it's been well stopped. RJ Smith, that's a nice carry from him. They got penalty advantage here to the GRIQUAS. If they can score first here, then almost most of the hard work could be done, to be honest. Some very desperate defense on the Sharks, driving the GRIQUAS back, but they've got an advantage. Cheap as Whitehead trying to go a bit of a backdoor pass there out to Edwin Cater. Doesn't come off, so they'll go back for the penalty. And at the moment, it's sort of one-way traffic, and it's the men in the Peacock Blue who are doing all the talking at the moment. What will they do? It's a really good field position. It'll be a very good three-pointer. Dylan Cup says no. Go to the corner. They want... I mean, it will be a bonus point try, by the way, from the GRIQUAS if they score it. So who would have thought that they would have travelled to Durban thinking, oh, let's just go down to Durban, pop down to Durban, see the sea, get a bit of a bonus point victory, you know? All in the day's work. The first half possession was 64%, 36%, by the way, and territory was 74%, 26%, which when you think of how dominant the Sharks were, as the GRIQUAS get some momentum, and they're over. Bonus point try from the GRIQUAS. Another try, their fourth of the day. Well, I tell you what, the Sharks in disarray. They're back to 15 men, so I must actually take the yellow card off here. And it's Omer, the man who scores it. And I get my clock on as well. I'm gonna give it so much. Really, really good maul. They shifted, and then they just come through the middle. As Omer, the man in the back, controlling it, who you just can see Cameron RJ Smith working quite hard. And then he bursts through the middle and has the composure just to sort of ride the hit and go down. Kenny van der Merwe coming from behind him, and the GRIQUAS was just all one-way traffic all of a sudden. Sean Farrell says, why don't the Lions go to the Cheetahs, etc., and offer their players a chance to play against top teams in Europe? Well, that's in theory what they should be doing. You think of Bulls bringing in Zach Berger and James Vertiam. So the Lions, they're going to have to go after a couple of these players. I mean, Edwin Cater is going to the Sharks, for example. So I'm just trying to think of players who the Lions go for. I would really like to see our Japanese players back down there. You know, your Malcolm Marks, Willie LaRue, Franco Mostert. You need to try and get those players back in the country. I would like the Lions. The one thing is, and this is nothing against the smaller sides, but the problem with the Lions is that what I think they need to do is they need big blockbuster signings. You know, the Sharks this year have signed Sia Khaleesi, Bongi Manambi. They've previously signed Sikambo Noche. So they've gone and signed really big blockbuster talents. You know, the Bulls have brought in Johan Goosen, Jacques Duplessis. They brought back Dwayne Vermeer and Mornay Steyn quite recently. Onno Botha, Marcel Coetzee, Cornel Hendricks has sort of had his rise. They're bringing some really big, at the peak of their powers sort of signings. It's another good kick here by George Whitehead, by the way. So up to 28 points. So I think if the Lions want to compete in the URC, they've got a lot of youngsters, but they need to go and get players in their prime. You need to go and get a Joseph Weber. You need to go and try and find a Franco Mostert and bring him back, or a Malcolm Marks. Go and maybe look at like Fezman Bartu, who's going to be playing second fiddle to Bongi Manambi. The Lions need a couple of big statement signings, not just some more youngsters or some players with a bit of potential. And then the next question is, do they actually have the coaching staff to nurture that potential? But it's a nice extra play there from the Sharks. They found a decent touch finder, so they need to try and hit back. I mean, it's a lot of work. They're trailing by 20 points, so they've got a lot of work to do if they want to try and formulate a comeback here. Honey now says that this is GRIQUAS were absolutely outstanding. They really have. They fought really, really hard in those first sort of opening 25 minutes on their defense. And since then, made the yellow card work. They put them under a lot of pressure. The Roots, once again, with a very big carry. He's just so big. But, I mean, that's our poll results. 92 votes, and there's 78% of people saying the Sharks. So, look, I mean, even then, a couple of people going with the GRIQUAS. But, I mean, I don't think we would have expected this type of performance. Bern Bosch. Kevin van Furen on the angle there. The GRIQUAS, I mean, all-around play. Their defense has been solid, and Werner Kok has just knocked it on for the Sharks. It's just not happening from the men from Durban. It really isn't. They've looked very, very narrow-minded on the attack. Very sort of... They just don't seem to have much of a plan when they've got the ball. I mean, 7 handling errors from the Sharks. I think that says it all. 7 handling errors. Sean Farrell says Leinster use their academy more than overseas players. They only got XMO international title. I can't remember his name, but he came from the Crusaders. Yeah, and I think the problem is the Lions have got a very, very good youth setup. I mean, they've got lots of... I mean, if you look at the under-20s, the SA under-20s, Henk van Wyk, very good player. Kieran Horn, very good player. Sasco and Lord was as captain of the SA under-20s. You know, Jordan Hendricks is a very good player. So they've got a good 5 or 6 really, really good youngsters. That doesn't include the likes of Sibasiso Sangweni, Vince Shatuka. But the problem is, I think, if you're the Lions, and the average age against the British and Irish Lions is like 24. So... the problem is that they've got a bit of a missing middle where we don't have players in the peak of their powers. You know, we've kind of become a bit of a journeyman side where you come through the ranks, then you go somewhere else. You come through the ranks, you go somewhere else, which has worked in the past when you've got really good coaches, which can really sort of make that work and get the best out of players for a short space of time. But at the moment, we're now sort of in between generations where we've got players who are good, we've got a lot of players who aren't good enough. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to bring anybody in. It's just a disaster. So a scrum here for the GRIQUAS, which has been a very good part of their game today. Trying to get some more sentency, but it's very solid. So they go down the blind side. Appears to be, well, it's a very good run there from Edwin Cater. Gets away from one. Gets away from another. He's still going as Edwin Cater. Still going, almost up to the 22. Really good run there from the future Sharks wing. Now Whitehead's, oh, that's a bit of a wide pass. They see now cleaning up. Bit lateral, eventually straightens, finding a bit of gap, looking for an offload. Here's the Bears there. Also, oh, and he's knocked it on forward. He's knocked it on forward. Well, it looked really promising from the GRIQUAS, and Tinas de Beer, as he's trying to find that offload, knocks it on. But the GRIQUAS, I tell you what, they're doing very little wrong at the moment. Sean Farrell says, I think 1 to 2 experienced players might work, plus try and get more coaches from overseas as well. Yeah, I think, look, the Lions, if you look at the squad now, if this exact squad stays together, in 2 or 3 years, it should be a really decent squad. But you can't, I mean, you're going to sit there and tell SA Rugby, listen, just give us 2 or 3 years. This is the side that was in the Super Rugby final a couple of years ago, so it's very frustrating. I think coaching is a bit of an issue with the Lions. I think they need to go and get a big coach. You know, they've got some good coaches in their assistants. You know, I mean, Sean Erasmus has had a really, really good rise as a good coach. So I'd be interested to sort of see what the call is. I'd be very surprised if things keep going the way they are, if Ivan van Rooyen is the man leading the side in the United Rugby Championship in about 2 months' time now. August tomorrow. My birthday month. Whoop, whoop. I'm getting old, though, so I'm not sure. That is a huge scrum. My goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll take everything back. Send the GRIQUAS to the United Rugby Championship. Send them to the United Rugby Championship. We've got chefs in the front row. We've got Varsity Cup stars in the back line. And they are currently absolutely blowing the Sharks off the park. That is another massive scrum. They're going to take the 3 points because now they've got the bonus point. Now it's just about, you know, extending their lead. But that is huge. And I mean, think of Lawrence Adrian say, Springbok cap, by the way, in the front row of the Sharks, and they've been decimated. And this is something I've been saying also about Nsuku Mkunu, is he's very, very good in the loose. But I've said that I worry about his scrummaging, and I'll tell you what, this GRIQUAS front row has absolutely decimated them today. So this is right in front from George Whitehead. So now they're just sort of putting the pressure on the throats, you know, sealing it off. He's kicked 4 from 4. He's kicked very well from as George Whitehead so far. So I'm sure this will go sailing through the middle as well. Yep, no issues there. An extra 3 points. 31 points to 8. The Sharks shell-shocked. Shell-shocked. And they've offloaded the bench. Well, that's I think 3 subs. We've seen Jeremy Ward come on. We've seen Dan Ewerster on as well. Hendricks on as well. Murray Costa off. Enko Fenton's on as well. So the Sharks have just offloaded their entire bench. Try to see who's not come on. So Nahamba's off. Hendricks is on. Holming's off. Cornier's on. That's interesting. Cornier on at fullback. Or you're going to put Curran Bosch at fullback and put Cornier at fly half. They've pretty much offloaded their entire bench. I think it's just the props who are still on. And Tibulani Bolly isn't on as well. So I think just the 3 players left from the bench of the Sharks. So 4 new players for them. GRIQUAS with a very nice maul off the kickoff there. Ungo asking for a bit of support. Now with a bit more of an angle, Stefan Ungo is asking for a couple of blockers. He's now going to go to the boot. Aronso will chase hard. Well taken by Bentley, goes inside to Cornier. Finds Bosch. There's a bit of space on the right-hand side. Bosch decides to go back towards left. Steps away from one. Steps away from another one. Bosch is straight through here. Oh, I'm not sure the kick was the right call there. He's gone to the boot, and Stefan Ungerer has picked it up, and he's returned the favor. There's a lot of time here for the Sharks. As Penkley has got Werner Koch outside him. He's wrapped up. It's a big hit on him then towards the floor. Hendrickson now with his first pass. Cornier sitting there at fly half. FC Buthelezi, well, he's going to need a big half. They're going to have to do anything here. Now Cohen Bosch goes to the boot once again, kicking it in behind. And that'll run inside the 22. Much better from Cohen Bosch. I think the first kick he did was probably the wrong option. Quite a few people around, a lot of space around him, and then completely miskicks it. But that's much better. Short of first, I think if Cheetahs find a tournament, they should ask the GRIQUAS and Pumas to join them, maybe EP. Yeah, I'm very interested to sort of see what happens with the rest of the teams. You know, what are they going to do with the Cheetahs? And I think now what we're seeing with the GRIQUAS and the Pumas, they deserve to be in a tournament as well. So whether it's a case of we need to get a couple of Georgian teams or some Argentinian teams or some Spanish or Russian teams down here and get a reformed Vodacom Cup going, or whether we try and send these teams overseas. But the GRIQUAS and the Pumas are definitely good enough to be playing more than just Currie Cup. I also don't think there's promotion relegation this year. I'm not quite sure what the story is there. But I think you'd be very surprised if you'd see any of these sides being relegated. Well, I suppose it would be the Lions would have to play that relegation. Solid line up there from the GRIQUAS. They've created a bit of space, and Unger's gone over the top. Okay, Abrahams has got Kerwin Bosch next to him. Quite a lot of the Sharks backline dropping back. Right, now what can they do? Benkler puts on the afterburners, gets inside Jan Frankie. Donald Cornier with some good follow-up play. Kerwin Bosch inside ball to Pepsi Buthelezi. That's a big hit on Terence de Beer. He's eventually brought down by Goma. Pick up and go. I think that's some Zama Majolo who's come on. And it's a penalty advantage from the Sharks. Penkley out wide. Gets past 22. Much better from the Sharks. Much better. Pepsi Buthelezi, another carry from him. This is already looking so much better from the Sharks. Nice quick delivery from Hendrickson. And Dan Jurst has left it behind. So we'll go back for the penalty. But that's what we haven't seen from the Sharks. You know, really, really direct, nice and quick. And Amy Barrett-Turan's going in search of a player here. I don't know if she's going to card somebody. Seems to be tapping her cards. So trying to jackal the ball there was, I think it was Terence de Beer who got punished. And Huron Steerkamp who's sucking in some oxygen there. Looks like he's under a bit of pressure. They're struggling a little bit on the GRIQUAS with that tempo. The Sharks going to tap this and go, actually, which is quite an interesting pick. It's Pepsi Buthelezi, taps and goes. Goes inside to Hendrickson. Now Louis Roots, as you'd imagine. Henko Fenter, his first carry. He's burst through the middle. Look, he hasn't been held as Henko Fenter. Has he got grounding? Has he got grounding? No, he's been held up. Almost burst through to Henko Fenter. He wasn't held, and he was within 2 meters of the try. I think it's RJ Smith who's managed to wrap him up. So I don't know if we're going to have a check here, but if that's been held up, then that is brilliant work from Smith. He looks all for money, like he was going to go all the way to Henko Fenter. Smith just wraps him up, gets the ball as well, and Crawley comes in and help as well. And it is held up. That's brilliant work from RJ Smith. He's paying the price a little bit. He stayed down here. Doesn't look very happy, does RJ Smith. Now, Timolani Bolia on for Mpilo Gamere, the try scorer for the Sharks. Will be a Shark scrum in very good attacking territory, and they've been in this position quite a few times today. I haven't really managed to make a count. We've already seen a much sort of more promising sign with the bench. I think they've added a little bit of pace to the game. A much better scrum from the Sharks. They use it to go to Hendrickson, who goes to Bernard Koch, who's wrapped up by Tennis de Beer. Right up in the try line of the Sharks. Hendrickson goes to Henk van Wyk. He's going to go over. I think he's going to be held up once again. And it is held up. Very, very good work on the defense from the GRIQUAS. Well, we saw the entire Sharks bench coming on. We've now got 4 subs for GRIQUAS getting ready to come on. It's an all-new front row, as well as Cameron Lindsay. The Sharks are running out a bit of time here. They're 23 points behind. That's 4 tries, really. 3 tries and a penalty. 3 Cabrera tries and a penalty. So they don't have a lot of time. They've got 22 minutes, so there still is some time on the board. But there are far too many opportunities that are going waste here for the men from Durban. It's gone straight down in that scrum. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is 2 hours until the test match kicks off later. Please tell me that you're going to come and hang out over here. We had a fantastic stream last week, and I really want to try and even do more this week. We had 600-700 viewers last week. Just trying to see if we can get our first ever stream over 1,000 viewers tonight. That's the ambition. So please do come and hang out with us later. It's going to be a really, really good game as the Springboks versus Welsh Lions. So scrum. Jeremy Ward puts his head down. I'd say he's been driven back. It didn't really look like he had much intent there to Jeremy Ward. Henderson waiting for a few ball carriers. He goes Temelani Bolly. Very good ball carrier. Never seems to go backwards, this Bolly. And Hendrickson on the floor. The knee goes to... that's a bit of a horrendous tackle there from Smith. It looks like no arms tackle. Yeah, I think Smith is off. It's a no arms tackle. It's a grass cutter. Yep. RJ Smith is off. You can see as soon as it happened, Tehran's arm went straight up with the advantage. Peter van der Merwe was the man competing on the ground. But it's RJ Smith who's gone to the bin, and it didn't look like a good tackle at all. In real time, you can see a proper grass cutter, no arms involved. And once again, we're going to go with the pick up and go here from the Sharks. Less than 20 minutes on the clock. Roots once again. Driven back this time. Dan Jooster. On the defense. The GRIQUAS have been so good in their defense today. Really have fronted up. Roots once again. Sharks now going to the wide. Bit of a fumble there from Curran Bosch. He then cuts inside by himself. He's wrapped up by a couple of players. Kenny van der Merwe is around there, but he can't get his body position right to contend. Kuna now with a solid carry, but once again, very good defense. He's driven backwards. Oh, some good handling there from Cronier. Jeremy Ward outside Henk van Wyk. Yeah, Penke's got one to beat. Very nice tackle from Angara and Keto came in to help. Dan Jooster. Oh, and they turned it over. They've turned it over, have the GRIQUAS. Kenny van der Merwe has emerged with it. That is sensational stuff from them. Once again, all the pressure. The Sharks very, very imaginative on defense. Now White goes to his left boot, puts it on torpedo, so it stays in field, so they'll be able to counter here will the Sharks. Going off to the left, now Taki Abrahams spots a bit of space on the right. He's well tackled by Mox Mtoli. And once again, the GRIQUAS literally on the ground and comes straight through it. It's available for Henderson. It was almost turned over. Oh, that's some horrible handling. All the way, a little bit forward from Non-Cornelia, all the way back on the 10-meter line. Cornelia once again, looking very flat. Yeah, Penkler, a couple of... oh, that's a good run from him. He's still going. Penkler gets the away from Cornelia. Cornelia gets it away from Hendrickson, who's brought down within inches. And there's a penalty advantage here. It's held up over the line. Penalty, and we're going to see another yellow card. This is a professional foul from, I think it's Orange, the man who's going to get sent off here. It's cynical. And they're down to 13 once again, I think, from the looks of it. Are they? I don't think so, actually. I think he stayed on, so they're still down to just 14 are the GRIQUAS. But they're under all sorts of pressure. Cornier over the top. And it's forward. It is forward. Well, he's been looking flat the entire time as Lionel Cornier. Every single pass he's made. And after all that, they've literally all they had to do was go to hand to Penkley out down the flank there, and they would have been over. No issues whatsoever. And they're throwing a forward pass. There is a yellow card. It's Omo, the man who's gone off for the GRIQUAS. So they're down to 13 men, and literally down to 13 men. What's the first thing the Sharks do? They throw a forward pass. Unbelievable scenes there at Kings Park. Okay, we're about to run. Now telling Jaden Henderson to shut up. Husband said, what time Spring must kick off? At 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock South African Standard Time, or 5 o'clock if you are in the UK. We'll be live at 5:30. So we'll be live half an hour before. Talking about some of the battles, looking at some of the predictions. I might try and find some betting odds for you. Maybe I'll go put some money on it. Well, I feel like that's just tempting fate. Maybe I should go put money on the Lions winning, because I always lose money. So maybe a bit of reverse psychology. Right, so the last couple of players on here from the GRIQUAS, who've got their a defensive scrum now inside their 22 on their 5 meter, actually. 18 minutes to go, 23-point lead. And a very good scrum from the GRIQUAS, but it's 2 new front rows. So, you know, it's pretty much a fresh start, really, in terms of scrum time. Basically, now decided to join the scrum. They've got 2 forwards off. A decent scrum. Can they get it out? Yeah, Ungo can get it out. Not under too much pressure, so he goes to the boot. A very nice clearance from him as well, actually. And the bounce has favored him, which means they'll buy a few times. Stefan Ungerer, ball after his ludicrous yellow card where he just dumped the Humber, has actually been very, very good today. Very impressive from him. Very impressive from the GRIQUAS. I mean, the Sharks still on 8 points. The GRIQUAS have been down to 13 twice, and the Sharks scored just 1 try. Jeremy Ward now makes a break. A very nice run from him. Back inside the 22. Right, now Cornier going to Bosch. He's got Werner Cox outside, and Werner Cox tries to cut inside. Runs straight into Terence De Beer. He's brought down inside the 22. Cornier, Leroux goes himself. They space out wide from the Sharks, so they just use it. They run the hands. Jeremy Ward cuts back inside. He's butchered it at Jeremy Ward. I mean, it was a 3-on-2 situation, almost a 3-on-1 situation. He's got himself as Jeremy Ward. Now, what was Henderson to do? Now he's going to have to go back to his forwards. The Sharks have made this look so difficult. They've gone to Henk Venter, who's then by himself and been driven back. Hendrickson go back to the blind side. And Hugo, as he stayed in. He's out. How? If I was a Sharks supporter, I think I'll just take the jersey off and I'd finish. How have they butchered this? Literally, you got Cornier. It's just our. Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get inside ball, but he was driven out, and the GRIQUAS are hanging on for dear life and doing really well, actually. They've had 4 yellow cards today, the GRIQUAS. 4 yellow cards. And they've conceded 1 try. I don't think I've ever seen a game like this. And as a Sharks fan, you must be doing your absolute nutting. So it'll be a GRIQUAS putting it at the line out. They go to the top here. Oh, and Frank has cut through the middle. Frank is still going. He's got all the way to the halfway line, right up towards touchline, but he stays in. So the GRIQUAS have got themselves all the way up to the halfway line. They now go to George Whitehead. George Whitehead just chips it over the top. Can't go into touch. Feeds a bit of space. And he's kicked it straight into touch from Whitehead. So that's a mistake from him. It'll wind down the clock a little bit, but if you just landed that inside ball is brilliant. They went over the top to Orange, who then gets it into Jonathan Frank, who's a really good break from him. But then a poor kick from George White has put the GRIQUAS under pressure once again. The Sharks with the line out. Jooste goes to Roots, goes to Hendrickse, and then going to go to Temelani Bolly. It's a big hit from him. But Gini van der Merwe stands tall. Grenier going to Bosch. Bosch once again with that little grabber through, but Penkler is chasing it. This looks better. Inside ball from Penkler, and it's fallen to a GRIQUAS man. It then goes backwards. It's an advantage to the Sharks. They're inside the 22. Oh, it's a good line. Pepsi Buthelezi, desperate tackle. Advantage is over, but I think it's a new advantage now. Is that a deliberate knockdown? They've taken it quickly at the Sharks. I think they've actually got a third yellow card here, by the way, which I don't actually have in my in the studio. I can't actually put up a third yellow card. They go down there. Well, they finally cracked have the GRIQUAS. Reniel Guco is the man over. Well, quite a bit of after-sway from the GRIQUAS players, but the Sharks are finally over. Reniel Guco scored his second Currie Cup try for them. But they are down to 12, are the GRIQUAS. So, I mean, I can't actually show 12. I don't have 3 yellow cards loaded. I never thought I'd have to put, I mean, they've got 16 in the bin. They've got number 7 in the bin. They're down to 12, are the GRIQUAS. The Sharks have finally scored a try. They still trail by, what? I mean, we're about, 16, 17, 18 points. Well, we're in for a hell of a last 14 minutes. GRIQUAS down to 12 men. Sharks are still 18 points behind. This is unbelievable. I mean, we've seen the Sharks had 1 yellow card, so we have seen 6 yellow cards today. 5 yellow cards. Imagine winning a game with 5 yellow cards. How? How have they done if they do it? Stefan Unger goes off. It's a very, very good match from him. Regan Oranje is the man that replaces him. And as we move into the last 13 minutes, a 12-man GRIQUAS will try and hold out the Sharks. And they've won it back off the line-out. I mean, the Sharks, I mean, come on. Another very good run from Jonathan Frankie. He's been brilliant today. I mean, the GRIQUAS now trying to step things up. They're trying to hit back here. You know, you'd think they would have tried to keep it tight and stuff like that, but they're trying to hit back. Now Whitehead, kick charge down, keep the ball in hand. But it's offside. They've won a penalty. The GRIQUAS have won a penalty. It's Temelani Bolly who's given it away. 12 men. They win the ball from the kickoff. They then win a penalty. This is sensational. And of course, they'll go for the poles here with the GRIQUAS. George Whitehead asks for a tee. He'll take all 60 seconds he's been given to try and take this kick. There's no pressure whatsoever. And if he slots this over, he goes to being more than 20 points. That's the margin. Yeah, so I don't think it was Bolly that actually conceded the penalty. He was just the last. He created the charge down, which then saw it being awarded. 25 seconds, yes, still for Whitehead to run down. Busy placing the ball, so you're going to have to take this a little bit quickly. Well, a bit like Curran Bosch, he's going to be really, really tight here. He's got 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, it's gone. I'm confused. This is the second time we've seen the shot clock run out, and the kicker still goes, and they still. I mean, he's nailed it, by the way, but the shot clock was down. So I'm very confused. Why do we have a shot clock? Is it a case of the TV one is just wrong, or what's the story there? But Sharks have won it off the kickoff. So with 11 minutes to go, they've got 21 points to try and make up against a 12-man GRIQUAS side. They're going into the numbers on the outside. Of course, they've got numbers on the outside. Tucker Abrahams stepping inside. Eventually brought down by Ranya. Now Henderson is going to Justo. Goes to Cohen Bosch. Cohen Bosch very lateral. Goes to Jeremy Ward. Goes to Pepsi Buthelezi. There will be space out wide. And yeah, Penkler is over. Well, the Sharks hit back immediately. Winning the ball off the kickoff was the big thing there. It's up to 18 points now, the Sharks. Sorry, I forgot to add the try. It's just all happening at the moment between trying to add different yellow cards. It's 18 points to 34 is the current score. 10 minutes to go. Late drama here down in Durban. This is one of the most amazing games I've ever watched, just in terms of the bizarreness of what we've seen. 6 yellow cards. 5 yellow cards for GRIQUAS, who still lead. An important kick here from Bosch. He's only gotten 1 from 3 so far in the match. So he's left 4 points out there so far. Trying to see where what times Orma and Smith went off, because they must be quite close to coming back on. That's a much better kick from Bosch. Right, 34 points to 18. 2 converted tries away from leveling up the scores are the Sharks. So Orma went off on 61, RJ Smith on 60, so they should have those players back. They should be back to 14 men, or should the GRIQUAS. So one more phase, and I think we should be back to, the GRIQUAS should be back to 14 men. They go deep, and it's Pepsi Buthelezi. Much better under the high ball. Now the Sharks going to have to keep them ball in hand here. They've got 9 minutes to try and score two converted tries and find a penalty, or three tries. They immediately go wide to Jeremy Ward. He's got Werner Koch outside him. Good handling here. Enko Fenter is wrapped up. Going to Cohen Bosch. Sees a bit of space. It's a very nice tackle, but desperate tackle. Now going back to Cornier. Goes out wide to goes straight to Pepsi Buthelezi. Juggles it a little bit. Sharks still inside their own half here. Kutam Kuna with a nice carry there. 8 minutes left. Now they're going out wide. There should be space out wide. There is space out wide. Jamie Ward cuts inside. Ran into a bit of traffic. He's eventually brought down. He gets themselves into the GRIQUAS territory, though. Now Cohen Bosch. Still no penalty advantage. Anything that's a poor pass from him. So Tucker Abrahams is all the way back inside his half, cleaning up. Kenny van der Merwe is over there trying to win the ball on the ground. But it's available for Hendrickson. But the GRIQUAS, they're back to 14. So back to 13 at the moment. I think Smith is back on. Werner Koch goes wide to Jeremy Ward. Right now it's a bit of a foot race. And it's forward. Oh, that's a bit of a rough call there. It's a bit of a rough call. Time off. Oh, that's a harsh call. I mean, it does go forward, but I think your direction of the hands. Right, so down to just 1 yellow card now, the GRIQUAS. They've survived up to now. They've got 7 minutes to get over the line. I mean, has anybody ever seen a match with this many yellow cards? And a team that got 5 yellow cards could still win it. They've got 7 minutes to last to the GRIQUAS. This would be one of the most amazing victories ever if they manage to hold on. Right, so it will be a GRIQUAS scrum. Bit of a harsh call on the forward pass, but I don't think, as the Sharks, you're not exactly going to complain about refereeing calling when you're playing against, you had 5 yellow cards against the opposition team. A third of the team has spent time on the sin bin. Another reset here, so the time will go down, the time will tick down. But you got to think the groups have done enough here. I mean, it's just under 6 minutes left to play, or just over 6 minutes left to play. They've got a scrum. They're down to 4. It's 40 men. So it's not a bit better than the 12 that they had. Good scrum. It's available for a run here. Goes back to Orenser. Gets away from one. Eventually brought down. Plays lazy. Big counter rack there from the Sharks. And they've won the ball back. But illegally so. A penalty from Amy Barrett-Turan. He's going to have a chat to the captains here. I think it's a lot of off the ball chatting at the moment. So she wants to have a chat here as Amy Barrett-Turan. It's a penalty for the GRIQUAS. Amy Barrett-Turan saying there's far too much chat to her, so both captains are going to tell the teams they need to calm down. Sort of shows you the tension out there. The fact that the Sharks, I mean, they're going to have another go at the polls here. And if Whitehead nails this, and he's nailed everything so far, then they will have a 17-point lead despite having 5 yellow cards. It's been sensational. I mean, yeah, if he nails this, that has to be job done, really, from the GRIQUAS. Towards the right-hand side, yeah. Oh, it's looking good. It's looking good. He's picked up his tee. It's straight through the middle. 37 points to 20. You can hear the celebrations from the bench. They think that their team's done enough. It's less than 5 minutes left on the board. They go short to the Sharks, try and make it competitive. But it's been won back. Tennis de Beer. Nice carry from him. GRIQUAS have got 4.5 minutes just to run down here. Whitehead goes, it's a bit of a backward ball for Frankie. Whitehead spots a bit of space down the right-hand side, launches it straight down the throat of Kerwin Bosch. Well, it's now or never for the Sharks. It literally is now or never. They've got space down the left. They go Tucker Abrahams, stepping inside ball to Werner Koch, and then to Reno Hugo, then to Fenter. Eventually down. They're right inside 22, and it's been turned over from the GRIQUAS. Oh, and it's been knocked down by Edwin Cater. That's horrendous from him. Brilliantly turned over by the GRIQUAS, and the simplest a pass straight to Edwin Cater, and he knocks it on. So he's allowed the Sharks another opportunity, but it's too late. It is too late. We've got less than 4 minutes on the clock. Okay, well, fantastic charisma. You can create your own channel if you want and go do it if you don't like what you see. Don't know what you want me to say there, chap. Feel free to move along. Right, so final scrum here inside the 22 for the GRIQUAS. I mean, for the Sharks, sorry. Knock on there from Edwin Cater. Bosch has got himself. Well wrapped up. Morley, it's a very big hit on him. And he's got it down. He's reached over and he's placed it. Well, the Sharks, it's probably too late, but they've scored. It's Temalani Morley. Very big hit on him. Was very patient though, and so there's very long arms of it. He gets the ball right up to the try and does actually get to place it. So the Sharks have hit back. Time off. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm not sure Amy Batcher is checking this. It's a big initial hit from Temalani Morley, but he keeps going, gets a bit of help, and then he sees he's right by the try line, so just reaches over and places it. So it's well worked there by Temalani Morley. Kevin Bosch taking a bit of a few minutes just to get this conversion sorted. Right, well, he slots the conversion, does Kevin Bosch. It's still 10 points, though, with less than 3 minutes on the board, so it's surely no time. Well, the clock's currently off on the TV, so we don't actually know where we are with the time. But George Whitehead will put this as high as he can, as far as he can. We know Hugo, the man underneath. Kevin Bosch was quite lateral, and he's eventually wrapped up. So they're well inside the 22 here, the Sharks. Right, they can't kick or anything. Cornelia goes wide, ball out to the top there. Tucker Abrahams right up against the touchline. Manages to stay. He's still going as Abrahams. Up past 22, now going towards the right hand side. Pepsi Bootlegs, he's got space. He's got Penkley outside him. He steps inside. Getting for the halfway line. Cornelia chips and chases. Who's got the pace? Who's got the pace? Who's got the pace? It should be Edwin Cater. He's over the line, though. He's over the line, desperately trying to get himself back, waiting for the support. They're holding him up, the Sharks. But can it be? Is it available for the GRIQUAS? It is available. Well, that should be it. I'll change the clock to what it says on the TV, but I'm not convinced that's right because they were off for quite a while Kevin Bosch was taking the kick. But in theory, we're in the last sort of minute. The GRIQUAS have turned the ball, and they won the ball back after the kick and chase from Cornelia, and they're right on their try line. And it's a penalty for the GRIQUAS. There goes the siren. So that should be it. Tap and go, and they kick it out, and they'll be sorted. KFC says, great channel. I'm sure there are others, but you had a great response to the rest of it. Too many people overreacted on both sides. Fair, love your take. Thank you. Well, there it is. Full time down in Durban. 37 points to 27. The GRIQUAS have won a bonus point victory against the Sharks, despite having 5 yellow cards. That's one of the most amazing situations and games I've ever seen. Thank you very much for hanging out here. We'll be live in just over an hour for the Lions versus the Springboks. Should be an absolute cracker, so don't miss it. But yeah, what a time in the Currie Cup. Thank you very much for watching. Please do smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and I'll see you